Hi tarot friends, it's Jade here with Tarot Your Truth. My channel is all about sharing my personal journey with the tarot, which only began about 7 months ago now. Anyway, this one is a quick VR to actually to a couple of fellow YouTubers who have much larger channels than I do, which is awesome. There is Becca at Intuition Tarot, and who did a video about her 5 spookiest decks, and the second is to the 3 fat readers who did a on their last video. There was quite a fun argument, I guess, shall we say, about Halloween season, and so I thought I would kind of combine those two into this one. I'm all for Halloween season. I prefer Halloween season to winter, that is for absolutely sure. But in any case, let's get to it. I do have a few, and some of these might be pretty standard for some people, and some might surprise some people. Anyway, so my first one was my first deck ever, and this one will always hold a special place in my heart because it was my first deck, and it was the first deck that really sort of made me. I saw a walkthrough of it somewhere and decided that I would. I really had to buy it, so it's the first one that made me pause a video and then hit up Amazon for it. And this is my Tarot de la Nuit. I recently re-edged it, so if you saw in another video I showed how quickly the edges sort of wore off and chipped, and so I re-edged it in a dark blue. It's almost a purple to sort of match the backs. And this one is not let me just see if I can make this a bit brighter. Oh boy. All right, well, hopefully that's not too bad. I think I'm okay, I'm back. I had a bit of a mishap where my curtains actually fell down. In any case, hopefully the lighting is slightly better now. But what I was trying to say earlier was that the Tarot de la Nuit, I noticed that some people have put this in their spooky decks category, but this is from where a candle just fell. Anyway, sorry. But it's not really dark. I mean, it's dark in terms of the coloration of the cards is dark, but it's not, it's definitely not spooky in any way, shape, or form. This is probably the so-called spookiest card, the 3 of Swords, where you can actually see a heart and maybe a dead bird and a knife in her other hand. But while the images themselves have a dark, just dark colorations to them, the cards themselves I don't find to be Halloweenish or spooky at all. 6 of Cups. Sometimes the coloration being so dark, it does bother me, because it does make it a little bit hard to see what, everything that's sort of going on in the card. But in general, they seem to be okay. I love this image for the 10 of Wands. Just, she's taken on so much and she can't do it anymore. Tea Party. And I love the Hanged Man as well. Like this one, for example, is one of the ones that bothers me in terms of how dark it is. Now that I have a light shining on it, and I don't know if you can see it, but at the top you can sort of see fleur-de-lis wallpaper. And you can see some images of saints or holy people in the background, some more fleur-de-lis. And then I know just looking at some of the things in the water, it's a little bit harder to pick those out. Okay, so I won't show all of those cards, but we'll move those out of the way. So that's the first deck that I would say is my Halloween season, not so much a spooky deck. And let's see if I can adjust this. Hopefully I don't make everything crash again. Okay, give me a little bit more room. My second spooky deck, just got this haphazardly wrapped, is my zombie tarot. I kind of find this one more, again, I kind of find this one more spooky than, or more funny than spooky, but here are the backs. I edged this deck in, come on, focus, there we go, in sort of a dark, either brown and sort of a dark, fleshy color, to sort of match the coloration on the front, and there's a little bit of orange, more orange as well. So this one, again, I don't find this super, oh, come on, focus, buddy. There we go. I don't find this super spooky. It's more funny than anything else. I don't really own any super spooky decks. Actually, what I just noticed, I didn't notice there's this shadow in the background on this card. It looks like that's maybe a zombie. High Priestess. I've done a walkthrough of this, so not terribly spooky. Probably one of those spookier decks that I have and that I will show you for different reasons, but it's just kind of fun. Save yourself. I have worked with this deck a little bit while this is one of the decks I took with me on holiday to New Orleans, and I was doing some exercises and just playing around with it while I was traveling, and I thought that was a lot of fun. It does actually read very well, or at least I thought it read very well, and I'm trying to find the next deck. Okay. My next one is a deck that I thought was pretty spooky when I first saw it. Now I'm not so sure about it, but it is, of course, the Deviant Moon. And this one, it's the, I find this pretty spooky. Or Halloween season. I just find it, just the artwork, there's always, every time I look at it, I see something slightly different. Like this is the first time I've noticed that this person actually has, or this figure actually has 3 legs. Oh, I don't know why some of them are upside down. And just the subject matter I find really interesting and thought-provoking. Like in this case, the moon is just sort of holding their strings, so they're powerless to do any action without the moon's say so, I guess. Justice. I won't go through all these cards because everyone has seen these. I am very glad that I got the borderless edition. I don't know why some are upside down. It does seem to stick to the Rider-Waite Smith system, more or less. 7 of Cups. I find the faces creepy, in particular. I do think it's cool that they're kind of sun and moon together, but I find the faces creepy. Ace of Wands. I don't know why some of these are upside down, because I haven't been reading reversals. I may change my mind about that eventually, but just for now, I'm going to be sticking with just reading upright. Okay, so I won't go through all of those because everyone has seen those. And if you haven't and you would like to see a full walkthrough and can't find another one, please do let me know. I'd be happy to do that. Okay, my next spooky deck might surprise some people to have it in this tarot wrap that I learned how to make from the lovely Rochelle over at Amethyst Ascension. And if you don't watch her, you should. Okay. So this one I do think is a spooky, creepy deck, but I adore it. Adore it. And this is my Chicoli Tarot. Now, I'm sorry, I can't remember the artist actually, but this deck was made from, as I understand it, was made from pre-existing artwork. And they sort of made it, they turned it into a tarot deck. I believe she may also have an oracle deck, but I could be wrong about that. In any case, this is not the easiest deck to learn for a beginner because it doesn't really, they've sort of forced it to fit into, the RWS system. But, some of the things that are on the cards they're very different imagery than what you would find on a more Rider-Waite Smith or even other systems of decks. I purchased this deck and started working with it fairly early on, and you'll see that I actually, on some of the cards, I wrote down what the meaning was because I couldn't quite remember yet what the numbers were. So not the meaning, the title of the card, because at first I had a hard time remembering what some of them were, and I didn't want to keep looking at the book. So why do I say that this is creepy? It's the images, it's how they're drawn. It just has this very shadowy feel to it. Just very spooky. Like, she has no arms. She's got just these fireflies that are attached to her by these webs. It's very ethereal. This one makes me laugh every time I see it. Hate me, the button eyes falling off. I think I had seen Coraline just shortly before this, and so that kind of freaked me out. I love the artwork, don't get me wrong. Like, I love it. It definitely spooks. It definitely evokes a reaction in me, and I adore this card, this moon card. I have used this deck for shadow work, and it was wonderful. It really helped me to get through some things. And this is, I love that card as well. Yeah, I adore this deck. I will guard this one with my life. This one will not be leaving my collection ever. And even though, you know, it sort of has that quality and I've been using it mostly for shadow work, it actually, it does great readings for even just regular old things. And so, you know, it's not, the messages it gave me were actually quite, they weren't like sort of in your face, and rough. They actually did give me some pretty kind messages, which is what I needed to hear. Okay, my next deck. I have seen a number of people bring this one forward. Let's open this up. Okay, and everyone will know this deck by the backs. And that is the Santa Muerte Tarot. I adore this deck. Again, and it's not, again, I don't consider this spooky or anything like that. You know, it is sort of, it is very based in the Mexican culture and the Day of the Dead and November 1st, you know, which is November 1st. I do resonate with it because I, you know, did, well, Italy has not the same traditions by any stretch, but just it is the same from the perspective of the Day of the Dead is a very important religious day, and also known as All Saints Day for us. So that sort of, you know, that means a lot to me. I know there's been a lot of discussion recently on Facebook about cultural appropriation and how this deck creator was Italian and not, I think Italian based in, maybe Italian based in America somewhere. I'm not sure. I'm just looking at the book here. It doesn't actually, I don't see that. I don't see it right now. It just says he was born in Italy in 81. And I understand that there are some images in here which are offensive to the Mexican people, and you know, I really want to learn about that because anyways, I really do want to learn about that and figure out what is, you know, what is the true truth behind the cards, not just what someone has decided to turn an image into. So I apologize to anyone who is upset by this deck, and please do know that I do want to do it justice, and I do want to do the research and learn. So that's how I'm approaching this. I've added this to the spooky deck just because of the subject matter, right? It is about the dead, the Day of the Dead, celebrating our ancestors, and just all the skeletons and whatnot. But I will be working with this deck quite a bit this month, I think. Okay, so that is that one. My next one I have also shown before. That is in this pouch. I adore this deck. I adore the artwork. And this is another deck that will never be leaving my collection. And that is the Dark Mansion Tarot. I love it. Whoops, upside down. So why is this creepy spooky? For me, it is, again, the artwork. So it's very Tim Burton-esque. Some of the, again, I don't know why some of these are upside down. Sorry about that. Okay. So the artwork, it's very, their arms are often very, very skinny in comparison. Look at her hands in comparison to the size of her face. I don't know about you, but my hands would occupy a lot more than that on my face if I put them there. 10 of Swords. I find this to be a very Halloween season deck. I love, love, love it. I did a couple of practice readings for a friend last week with this deck. And wow, they were really spooky accurate. According to the friend who I did their readings for, which is amazing. And it just kind of gave me the impetus to pull that deck back out and start reading with it again. Okay, and last but not least, this one might surprise people. This is in my, or this sort of wrap. Nice green robe. This one might surprise people because in and of itself it is not a super spooky deck. I am speaking of the Crow Tarot. And the reason that I am categorizing this in my Halloween season / spooky decks is because, number one, birds freak me out. Number two, collage kind of freaks me out a little bit too. Like, just things are where they shouldn't be, I guess. And also, images like this are very, very thought-provoking, but I also just kind of, So it does creep me out a little bit. The Emperor, the headless stag, or the bodiless stag, I guess, would be the better accurate, more accurate term. Sorry, words today. I have a migraine, so anyway, so I am considering this a Halloween season deck as well. I'm trying to get, and then this is one of the creepiest devil cards that I have seen. Things being when they shouldn't be. This head on this body just doesn't work for me, and this little songbird or hummingbird or whatever it is being chained to this giant crow with the goat horns, the goat head, just, yeah. It's freaky. So that is that's my reasoning why this tarot deck is included in my Halloween / spooky tarot. And that, my friends, is it. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've been really enjoying watching these video responses and seeing the things that are the same, the things that are different. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I did want to mention one more, which is, if anyone who has this deck may recognize this pouch that it comes with. And that is the Past Lives, the Art History for Past Lives deck. And I have a walkthrough, and I'm going to talk about this in another video. I'm currently working through the workbook on this. And, the images aren't spooky, right? They are pre-existing art that has been turned into a tarot deck. You can use it as a regular tarot deck, or you can use it for past life readings. And the thing that's spooky to me, is just doing that whole past life reading. And that wasn't something that I ever thought I would be interested in or doing, but I've been, it gives me that I've been doing some of the practice. Like I said, I've been working through the workbook, and I'll report back at the end of that process. But I've been going through those readings, and I just get the chills. I don't know why, but it gives me the chills. And so this one, again, I'm classifying as in that spooky or Halloween category, just for that reason. The artwork is lovely. It's not, there's nothing specifically scary or spooky in any of these, although when you get faced with, oh hey, you had a premature death, and when it relates to specifically your person, I don't know, it does give me a bit of a shiver. And that is it. So I will come back and talk about this, about my process with this, and my experience with this deck, once I have completed the 21 days of the workbook. I did have to put that on hold because of my trip. I didn't want to lug the whole book with me on vacation, so I have to get back into that. I'm maybe about a week behind. But hopefully by the time the end of the month rolls around, or early November, I'll be able to come back and report back on how this worked for me. Okay, so that is it. So in summary, we have the Art History for Past Lives deck. We have the Crow Tarot. We have the Santa Muerte deck. We have the Dark Mansion Tarot. What else did I have here? I thought I had more. Oh yeah, of course. My cards are going all over the place. We have the Chicoli deck. And the Deviant Moon. I have made a huge mess here. And last but not least, the Zombie Tarot for my Halloween season decks. This was a lot of fun. I hope that, if you haven't already, that you also do a video response. I've been having a lot of fun watching others and kind of thinking about what I have that sort of fits that category. And until next time, my friends, tarot your truth.